Vipassana is a technique which consists of sitting down, closing your eyes, and observing your breathing. Breathing must be natural, and you simply have to observe it. That is it. You do not have to do anything else. You will sit and watch your breath with your eyes closed. The speaker will continue to talk about what happens in the non-visible part of the body, that is, in the physical interiority. Then he will share his experience about the psychological part in the practice of Vipassana. In the last video, the speaker talked about what happens to the eyes. Today, we will start with the tongue. The tongue is the initial part of the stomach. So, to make sure that we have a correct diet, a check of the color of the tongue in the morning as soon as we wake up before brushing our teeth will let us know if our diet is regular. In color, it must be homogeneous, pale pink, with no white present in it. A correct and vegetarian diet is very important for those who practice Vipassana. When you sit down to meditate, your stomach must be completely empty. At least 1 hour after a light meal must pass before sitting down to meditate. While if the meal is normal, 2 hours are needed. If you have eaten more than you need, wait 3 hours. If you meditate with a stomach that is not completely empty, being able to not fall asleep will be very difficult, if not impossible. Plus, you risk damaging your stomach if you practice regularly with a full stomach. This is because when you practice Vipassana, your metabolism slows down a lot, so the digestion process will be much lower. This creates digestive problems. A similar phenomenon occurs when you sleep with a full stomach. Being lie down and sleeping slow down digestion, which creates problems with the digestive system. If you have a big meal at dinner in the evening, you will need a lot more sleep, and in the morning you will wake up with a heavy head. This is one reason why Buddhist monks are not allowed to eat after noon. In this way, they need fewer hours of sleep at night. We leave the monks where they are with their rules. Let's go back to the stomach, which for those who meditate is a very important organ. This is because it is where the third chakra, Manipura, is located. The speaker will talk about the chakras another time. For those unfamiliar with them, the chakras represent the physical point of spiritual growth, the psychological level in which one lives, and its counterpart in the body. These points are called chakras. The chakras are very interesting, but they have no connection with Vipassana, so this is not the right time to discuss them. The stomach is important because 90% of people are physically and therefore psychologically blocked at this point. All people are stuck on the third chakra, so nutrition is very important. Since the third chakra is blocked, this means that your energy cannot pass freely and feed the other chakras. For now, this is all about the stomach and the third chakra. The speaker talked about it exclusively because of the importance of having the right diet with healthy and vegetarian food. When thinking, the tongue is shaken by vibration, very light and almost imperceptible. This is obvious because when you think and express your thought, the tongue plays an important role in speaking. When you think without expressing your thought, the tongue will be subject to vibration from the thought process. The moment the thought process stops, there will be no vibration in the tongue. At this time, the tongue will finally be completely relaxed. When this happens, the tongue will be in its natural position, that is, resting on the palate, inserted between the teeth without touching them. Otherwise, the tongue does not touch the palate, but is located in the middle of the mouth. Generally, young people, when they see an elderly person talking to himself, they think that the elderly person has gone out of his mind. But they do not realize that there is not so much difference between the young and the elderly. Both of them speak with themselves. Thinking is nothing more than speaking with oneself. So, when the young man is thinking, he is talking to himself. The elder also speaks to himself, but he expresses his thoughts. This is because the tongue needs to move when one thinks. So, in the young man, there will be only vibration present in the tongue when he thinks, while in the elderly, there will be movement of the tongue, which produces the word. Psychologically, there is no difference between the elderly and the young. They both speak to themselves. Thinking is not a bad thing. Indeed, without the thinking process, we will probably still live on the tree. That is, there will have been no evolution. The problem is that we keep thinking. We think almost 24 hours a day. During the day, we think, while at night, we dream. The mind continues to work without ever stopping. This makes the mind tired, nervous, superficially, easily conditioned. A meditator must learn how not to give their energy to thought and instead direct into their own being, that is, the observer. The mind is able to generate thought thanks to our energy, but if the energy will not come to the mind, it will be impossible for the mind to think. Vipassana is nothing more than a technique to give birth to a new psychological center where we can direct all our energy. The speaker used the word new in the sense that it is new to us, but in reality, this center where we will direct our energy was present before we were born. What the speaker is saying is that this center is our soul. We have to come in contact with our soul, and only then we will truly be at home. This means that when we know our soul, we will be finally ourselves. The mind must become like any other mechanism in our body. By this, the speaker means that if we want to move, we use our legs to go from place to place. But by the time we have arrived in the place where we were ended, and we sit down, we do not continue to use our legs. The legs will stop and relax, so they will be ready for the next time which we will have to use them. If, on the other hand, we continue to move our legs, even when we are sitting and not using them, the legs will always be tired and tense. It seems absurd to keep moving our legs when we do not need them. But it is exactly what we do with our mind. Even when it is useless, we keep thinking. It is always thinking makes the mind tired. Keeping thinking happens because we are totally identified with the thought process. Being identified with the mind means that all our energy is given to the mind. When the energy comes to the mind has nothing to do but use this energy, and this generates the thought. In the East, it is said that the mind is the servant who has become the master. The mind is a very good servant, but when it becomes the master, everything becomes confusion. You think you are the mind, but you are not. The mind is your servant, the best you can have. This is exactly the problem. Being such a good servant, the mind has taken the place of the master. But the moment the mind becomes the master, life becomes hell. It could not be different. A servant is a servant, cannot take responsibility for being the master. So do not identify with the servant, but discover your true center. That is your soul. The speaker uses this name soul because the speaker likes it, but it is a subjective choice. Any name you want to give or not to give any name is the same. The name means nothing. Experience is everything. Buddha called it nirvana, which means nothing, empty. This is also a name that the speaker has always liked. Calling it soul or nirvana changes nothing. They both refer to the same psychological experience. To be continued. Thank you for listening.